Hello subscribers and non-subscribers, and welcome back to Let's Play Stellaris. So in this part we will probably be declaring war on the Pajulkamite Empire to turn them into our vassal, and we'll integrate them at some date in the future. I did have to go and add one mod real quick because it's a mod that I kind of forget to add when I'm using the Gigastructural Engineering mod. Mostly because the mod's not actually listed as a required mod, because I suppose it isn't actually required, but it's probably a good idea to have. And it's the Universal Resources patch. Because Gigastructural adds in a number of new resources, and you won't see them there for the most part, with a couple of exceptions. Unless you have that patch enabled. The big one that you won't see is the Planck photons, which are kind of important for one of the mega structures you can build. Do I go? That is the right date, right? Yeah, it is. Okay. For some reason, I just feel like it's not the right date. I don't know why. Do I want to go and get the battle cruisers? Yeah, let's get the battle cruisers. Sell a bunch of resources that I don't need. We're not going to be declaring the war right this second, but we will be in the near future.
Complete.
It might not be until towards the end of this part. That just kind of depends on how things play out. So Grenier 3 sent out along a narrow path, blah 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 blah. Curious, because that's about the only thing that we can ever respond to something with for some reason. See, you guys have a bunch of free workers because you need upgrades. Screw it, I'll just wait until you finish all of that stuff and then I'll give you upgrades. Yeah, let's make our ships cheaper. That always sounds like a great thing to have. What am I building right now out of curiosity? Shrek cruisers and escort carriers, okay. And how many escort carriers? Oh, okay, I got 2 escort carriers per fleet. And we are voting on Charter of Workers' Rights, which is a good one. There's really no negative to it. Besides worker populations having more political power, but that's not the worst thing ever. Pan-Galactic Recycling Initiative is okay. Not too big on the minus 20% diplomatic weight from economy, although that's not really a deal breaker. And the minus 5% consumer goods is kind of nice. I don't really care either way for any of the sanctions. The reality is I haven't seen them really do anything. Collective waste management is a nice one for the extra alloys and minerals. And I don't really care either way for the Radiant Shield, because it doesn't have any major benefits. It gives you some naval capacity and a little bit more diplomatic weight from fleet power, at the expense of ships being a little bit more expensive to maintain. It does have some later things. The Military Readiness Act makes it so you have to be using at least half of your naval capacity, otherwise you're considered in breach of galactic law, and as a result you then suffer sanctions. That's one that's kind of an annoyance, honestly.
System survey complete.
Because particularly in the late game, I don't actually use up that much of my naval capacity, just because while I can afford it, there's typically not much of a reason for me to use up that much of my naval capacity. At some point, there's just no benefit. And that is actually the case with another campaign that I'm playing on the side of this. I have something like 6,000 naval capacity, and I'm only using
System
like
survey
2,700. Because I just don't have a reason to use at least half of mine. I mean, there are benefits, sure. I wouldn't be in breach of galactic law, but I also have something like 1 million diplomatic weight, so anything they try to pass is gonna fail unless I say, yes, we can do that. And, well, quite simply, that's a law that I'm gonna say, no, we're not okay with that. So that law will literally never pass. Because it is physically impossible for them to get it to pass. Let's see, where do I want to go? Byzantine bureaucracy is not the worst thing ever. Bureaucrats produce unity as well as stability. The stability is kind of nice because it helps to ensure that planets are nice and, well, stable, and as a result, happy. Mining guilds is okay, but honestly, I never have issues with mineral income. So it's not actually that useful. Police state is also kind of nice. Enforcers also produce unity, and then I get just flat +5 stability, but a flat +5 is not really a whole lot. Though admittedly, I think Byzantine bureaucracy still caps out at basically a flat +5 at the end of the day, because I think a fully upgraded administration building only gives you something like 5 anyway. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the administrative park is the highest level of that, and that gives 5 jobs. If each job only produces a single stability, you still get 5, but it also requires some jobs to get that. So I guess Byzantine bureaucracy is not actually as useful as I thought. Diplomatic Corps is kind of nice, but not particularly useful. The biggest benefit is the diplomatic weight, especially because of those extra envoys that I can then use to even further increase my diplomatic weight. But we're never going to have any issues with diplomatic weight. I'm going to be honest with you all. I think next time I do a campaign, I'm going to have to raise the difficulty another tier. Because this one was very easy as soon as we dealt with that first war. Or I'll keep the same difficulty and just up the AI aggressiveness. I'm not quite sure what I'll end up doing, but yeah, I'm gonna have to do one of those things because this is gonna be easy. It really is. But honestly, none of these choices are particularly good. Corvée system is kind of okay for the extra pop growth from immigration, but 15% is not a whole lot. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna go for the Byzantine bureaucracy. At the very least, I will actually get some use out of that. Especially as I get bureaucrats to actually fill in
System survey
spaces.
complete.
But that'll still be a little while. Let's go and check out our nice fancy escort carriers actually built up. Honestly, I really like the ships in this mod. I think the name is United Fleet or something like that. What do we have here? And which one is this? This is that place. Oh, never mind. This is not the system I thought it was. I thought this was the system with the flat planet, but it's not. Record everything of whatever the hell it is you found. Okay, yeah, that's why I thought it was that, because it's one system over. But as a result, I'm still looking at the wrong system when I
The spirits have
thought
granted
that.
us new wisdom.
Better hyperdrive, always nice to have. Do I go for the better lasers, or do I go for the energy credits? The reality is, when you have 19k in the bank, and you're losing only 37 a month, and you gain a metric crap ton of minerals and food to the point where you have to sell the excess every year-ish, give or take. Maybe actually less time than that, I don't really know. And this is not desperately needed right now. And I don't think we have enough exotic gas income to really justify going for... Well, I can justify it and just not build them for now. But the better lasers are so much more useful right now, immediately. And I can take advantage of them no matter what. Yes, we're gonna go for the better lasers. Oh yeah, and what's the new thing they're trying to pass? Leveraged privateering. Bureaucrats have more upkeep, I gain more trade value, I gain some base trade protection, and I lose naval capacity. You know what? I can live with that. Oh, how's the current resolution going? Yeah, of course, it's very much in favor of passing. I don't know why anybody would go and vote against Charter of Workers' Rights. There is literally no reason to do that. Because plus 10% worker political power isn't really a whole lot, if we're being honest. We're gonna have to try and avoid the 5-year plans passing, because I don't think we can really do anything with that. Well, nah, technically I can move all my chattel slavery species up to decent conditions, and that would be okay. It's just, you know, then there's some actual upkeep. Yeah, but I suppose we could do that if 5-year plans does end up passing, but I don't think it will. Found a new precursor site. Just keep digging. I'm not bothering to read most of these because it's more or less all the same stuff that we've seen a dozen times now, it feels like. It's probably because I've played quite a bit, so I've seen this stuff literally dozens of times now.
Construction complete. System survey complete.
Wonderful. And no. No. Come on. Be smart with this. Thank you. Okay, we are technically losing consumer goods right now. Excellent find. We've got a perfectly preserved specimen. So scientist level cap is now increased by 1. Admittedly, that's not particularly useful because we'll very easily hit the level cap of 10 by the very end of the game.
Survey complete.
Anyway. Okay, so you have nothing else you can do. Now the question is, I need to find any planet that is producing any form of research. Specifically, prioritizing anything that's producing a decent amount of research. Which is not currently having any research assisted. This is the right place, right? Yes, okay, it is my capital that has all the research there. Let's go and upgrade that. Our governor of... I don't know where. Okay, the governor of the Suging sector is apparently now psionic. So that's a little bit extra stability because reasons. I'm not quite sure how that stability works.
Construction complete.
Or at least what the concept is behind that. Oh, is that not outside our borders? You don't have a leader. Oh, you're a construction site, or a construction ship, that's why. For some reason I thought you were a science ship. That's what I get for not paying attention to what I'm clicking on. Now I could go ahead and start securing this area, but I'm not going to. Because I know there's going to be one of these Leviathans that's going to spawn down there at some point. Or at least it has in all of my test runs. Or when I've loaded up these saves and just kind of let it run by itself. So, I'm not going to do that. because I'm just gonna have to rebuild all the outposts anyway. So I'll just kind of wait it out.
The spirits have granted us new wisdom.
Food processing centers is nice, but we don't really have a lot of moat production. Refit standards is also nice. That reminds me I need to go ahead and slap the new hyperdrives on our ships. We could stand to have a little bit more admin capacity, but that's going to take 121 months, so that ain't happening. You know what? I think I'll get some use out of the Central Research Bureau. And let's go ahead and slap the new fancy hyperdrives on all of our ships. Do you not... Oh, I haven't researched that apparently. No, I have. You're just not allowed to have them on cruisers, or... Because you're an exploration cruiser, that's why. You don't have enough power, so... Slap a reactor booster on you. That also reminds me, I'm actually going to make a change. Just, because I feel like it, and the reality is we're going to be stomping all over the AI going forward. I'm just going to... Well, no, I kind of want to go all kinetic, actually. We're going to switch to solely using kinetic weapons. Reality is this is not going to hurt us in any real way. Biggest issue will be that my kinetic weapons are slightly behind my energy weapons, but that's fine. So make sure I did swap everything correct. Yes, I did wonderful. And then we're going to go over here to policies. I know I had an option somewhere, armament doctrine. And we're going to go for a kinetic focus. And you know, let's switch that over to away teams. It's a little late to get any real benefit out of that now, but we're still going to do it. Okay, and now we upgrade everything, and that's kind of going to hurt our alloys for a bit. Because
our ships have been improved
quite a bit. But this is fine. Thinking of a way of trying to level the playing field a little bit by us solely using a specific type of weapon. So if the AI was smart, of course, it would choose to counter us, but sadly the AI is not actually that smart. It's not going to realize at all that I've switched to a kinetic focus. And as a result, it should probably do something to counter that. I'll give you minerals, because I have more minerals than I do food. Let's see. You guys would benefit from a Psy-Core.
System survey complete.
And that's all you're going to get for now. Out of curiosity, can you actually have anybody work there? Yes, you do. You actually have a couple of non-slaves working as technicians and one as a soldier. So yeah, you can do that. You can't get the Psy-Core yet. Let's go and upgrade that. Actually, okay, yeah, no, that is full. Wonderful, all of our habitats have been upgraded. Like I said, now that they've been upgraded, the model actually works properly. It was just an issue with the model doesn't work when they're not upgraded right now. And that might be just because we had started a game already before they made the change to add in multiple tiers. We're not going to do that. I'm just going to give you a... Well, you're fine actually right now. I need to upgrade these guys. We have 6 pops. 4 of them are slaves though, so they can't work any of these big jobs. Most of you guys are also enslaved, so I only actually have 2 spare slots, so I'm gonna build a Cyto Revitalization Center as your priority.
Construction complete.
Okay, you finished. You build that there. You come over here and survey this stuff. No, excavate, thank you. Wonderful. You have finished, and we've gotten Tomb World adaptation and 10% progress towards it, which amounts to nothing of any real value, of course. Can I actually... Oh, I can. Yeah, go do that and then upgrade. Oh wait, there's something here you can survey. Go and excavate that instead, because it's right there.
Construction complete.
Wonderful, build all the stations.
Construction complete.
Wonderful, build all the stations there as well. Let's go ahead and send one of our fleets out to go ahead and take care of some of these.
System survey complete.
Whatever you want to call them. The roaming, well, they're not even really roaming. Just the, they're there. Pops. Ooh, the Great Wound is a nice place. My other game that has 20, yeah, I believe it was 20 dark matter that it produced. Without any stations, or I guess without any of the upgrades rather. So that sounds quite nice to me. Would love to get my hands on that. In the meantime, we go ahead and check that out. But even if I sent both my fleets, I would probably pretty much lose the entire fleet, so we're not going to do that. That gets a little bit extra fleet command limit, which will be useful for adding in those battle cruisers in 4 months. And one of our scientists has been revealed to be a psionic. Which scientist? The guy in charge of the Elder Field. Wonderful. His expertise was already psionics, so it's nice to know that he is in fact a psionic. The Numistic Order has some stuff. What do you got? You want me to pay a whole bunch of stuff for a edict. What does this edict do? On your back, floating on a stream of energy credits towards a mountain of even more energy credits. Learn there is no greater power than the power of the mind. You too will be free of material desires, and credits will be drawn to you like anthropods to dung. You know what? It's only 2,500. Screw it. I don't know what it does. Let's figure it out. Is it actually something worthwhile, or is it a piece of utter garbage? It is actually not the worst thing ever, but it's not the greatest either. But we'll take it. Once we get the battle cruisers, I think we might declare the war. I don't know how much time is left on my timer before it goes off, though, so we may not actually fight it at all. About 5.5 minutes left on my timer. Okay, we've got another modifier. for 4-dimensional gyroscope, which gives us a little bit extra tracking. That's useful, I suppose. Ooh, and a relic, the quantum sphere. I don't know what the quantum sphere does. Gives us sensor range, and if I activate it for 120 months, I will have even more planet sensor range. But that's useless. The reality is, 1, I don't need effectively 10 plus whatever I get from all my research planetary sensor range. Especially because at some point I will eventually build myself the sensor array, which will just, once fully built, give me full vision of the entire galaxy. So, even less reason for me to have it, because it will do even less stuff. Or it'll serve even less of a purpose, rather. And as a result of this, we are now a target of a casus belli from everybody else, because they say, we want that relic. Well, at least in theory they can say they want it. They probably won't do anything to take it. 1, because they overpower them all, and 2, because it's honestly not that useful of a relic. It really is crap.
The spirits have granted us new wisdom.
Wonderful. And we can go ahead and jump straight to getting battleships. And with this combination of mods we're using, which I want to assume this is from new ship classes, we will instantly be able to at least have a basic X slot weapon, the early prototype lance. I want to say that this is actually quite a bit weaker than the typical lance. Let me see, do you list the specs out of curiosity? I don't know if you do. This also assumes you want to load properly. You kind of do. No, you don't list the specs at all, so I don't know off the top of my head how good a particle lance is. Suppose I can click that and in theory would open it up, but of course it doesn't properly open it. Ooh, that sounds nice, but 95 months? Yeah, I ain't researching that right now. Get afterburners that I'll never use, or go and get the PD Destroyer section type, which is just the normal destroyer. If I can open up the right menu. But with just some extra point defense slots. Which, that's not super useful. Well, I suppose it's okay. It's not the most useful thing, though, for being honest. You know, it's screwed. I think we're going to go ahead and jump straight to getting the battleship. And here's our nice battle cruiser. And we're going to go ahead and slap the artillery core on everything. And slap railguns everywhere. Though maybe barrage is not a bad idea. You know what? We're going to go for barrage instead. You know, it doesn't hurt to have some missiles. Maybe not everywhere, though. That's a little bit too many missiles, I think. You know what, actually? 2 artillery and a missile. That'll do the job. Nope, wrong thing, game. There we go. And of course, with the way the turrets are actually set up on these ship models, this very front turret here also serves as a missile turret, but like most of the actual holes for the missiles to come out of are blocked by the large and medium turrets that are right there. Can't do anything about it. Your maximum range, or rather I guess minimum range, is 75. I can't quite tell you to actually do artillery tactics at a range of 75, so we gotta round down to 70 to maximize weapons that are going to be within range. Oh yeah, Did you guys have the new shields? You did. Okay, I just wasn't sure if I remembered to do that at one point. Because I could see myself having forgotten to do that. Two battle cruisers. I don't want to add any more escort carriers. I suppose some more cruisers would be nice. We'll do a single battle cruiser. And add an extra 5 cruisers. I do want to note that I will be replacing the Corvettes at some point in the future because they're just not useful. At some point, they're just not going to really be any use. Out of curiosity, how expensive is a battle cruiser? Oh, 1,500? Yeah, that's expensive. That's going to be a while. Why did you build armor protection here? I never told you to do that. There was literally no reason for you to ever have done that, game. None of these are really useful to build right now. Well, I suppose the Deep Space Black Site could have a use, maybe. You're still a ways out. Okay, so maybe not this part, because I kind of just want this to be a more traditional half-hour long part instead of the close to an hour long the last 2 parts have been. I'll go ahead and let this thing finish building real quick.
Construction complete.
Then I'll build that. Build those extra shipyards, because I will get a use out of them at some point. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this part. So next part we will go ahead and deal with the mining core. There's some mining drones that are up here. And next part we will also then proceed to declare war on the Paijukamite Empire and turn them into our vassal. And we will integrate them at some point in the future, probably after we get shared destiny. I don't know when we'll get shared destiny because there are more useful things as well, but at some point we will get it. Because at some point it will be useful. Because eventually I'm going to want to integrate them. But let's go ahead. I'm going to let the year roll over to 2299, and then I'll end this part. So it is now 2299, and we haven't really grown a whole hell of a lot realistically, I want to say, since our war with the current, or whatever their name was, I kind of forget now. It's been a little while, but I think that's right. The Current Citizen Union, I believe, is what their name was. It's kind of easy to forget somebody that you haven't fought in a number of months. And we still have, I already spoiled it, but there's a Leviathan that'll spawn down here. It's the, what is the one that's its power level is affected by the star of the system that it's flying through. The name's escaping me right now. Is escaping me right now for what it's called. And then we got this other void spawn over here that we gotta go and fight at some point. Both of which are gonna be a royal pain to deal with. You know what? I should probably send the First Fleet over here to deal with you. And where did that go? Oh yes, that led into the Fanatical Purifiers territory. They probably won't declare war on us, although they are Fanatical Purifiers, and I think the AI with them is a little bit screwy. So they will actually, I think, sometimes declare war even though they have no hope of winning. Which isn't the worst thing ever, because, you know, I would benefit from conquering them. It is free land, really. Especially because it's so... Honestly, we may go to war with them. Because I can use the end threat justification, which acts the same as the total war casus belli. The only issue is that this will put me up here now as well, so I'll need to potentially be fighting people down here in the south, and then as well up here in the northeast. I don't know. We'll see. We might actually go the route of declaring war on the Surabankara Reavers instead of the Paijukamite Empire. Because Fanatical Purifiers are absolutely worthless to the galaxy at the end of the day. There is nothing you can do with them. While at least in theory, the Paijukamite Empire has a potential use once the War in Heaven and the Endgame Crisis eventually spawn. Although by that point I'll probably be so overpowered I won't need any help anyway. Because that's what happened in my other campaign that I'm running on the side. I ended up with the Unbidden spawning, and they spawned smack dab in the middle of my territory somewhere. So I just sent all my fleets to the system that they spawned in and knocked them out before they could expand. If they had popped in anywhere else, I would have probably left them alone for a while, give them a chance, but they spawned in my territory, so they had to be dealt with immediately. Either way, that's going to be it for this part. I will see you all next time. Quick reminder, I do have a Patreon, which you can find a link to down in the description below. If you enjoy the content on the channel, that is the easiest and best way to support the channel. For as little as $1 a month, you can get early access to all of my videos, which is useful for if you want to go ahead and leave any tips at all for whatever reason. Although admittedly with Stellaris, I don't really need them, especially once you start tossing in mods that very quickly make you overpowered, because the AI is honestly kind of incompetent in vanilla, and especially once you start tossing in mods that add in better and better weapons and ship designs and just mega structures and all that jazz, the AI typically becomes even worse more often than not. But that's sadly just the standard of all Paradox games. The AI is typically kind of crap at actually playing the game, more often than not. I wish that wasn't the case. It would be great to actually have competent AI to fight against in a Paradox game. But unless you can get an AI that is actually basically machine learning and is able to adapt on its own without it being just lines of code telling it if this, do that. So basically until you get effectively Skynet, or I guess maybe not even Skynet, a little bit easier, maybe go with Whopper from War Games. To be completely honest, that would probably be just as effective potentially in at least providing some degree of competency to the AI. But that's probably not going to happen for a very long time, if ever, in Paradox games, if only because the computational power to actually do it is probably far too extreme to be able to include in a game. Unless you have the AI running on a server somewhere, in which case then to play the game you basically always have to have an online connection, which is not the case with Paradox games. But oh well. Like I said, that'll be it for this part. I also have a Discord. I highly recommend you join it just to be able to keep up to date on channel happenings, because I will always post there with channel happenings. I will sometimes remember to post on my YouTube community page, but more often than not I don't remember to post there. So I highly recommend that you join the Discord. You don't have to be active in it, although of course it is nice if you are. But if you want to be kept up to date on channel happenings, you really should join the Discord. So link to that down in the description as well. But let me go ahead and save. And until next time, goodbye and farewell.